This leading edge teaching that you referred to, is it leading edge for Abraham also?
Yes, leading edge for all of us. You are the leading edge, and your asking is what brings forth answering.
Okay. Why did you choose USA now, United States of America in this time, to bring this to us?
Well, it is not limited to this. It is just where the questions are formulating. In other words, Jerry and Esther have a lot to do with that, because Jerry has the most to do with that because he was asking powerful questions. And Esther was in the place of allowing, and so it began in that way. And then as they allowed exposure to more, now it has become quite a nucleus of asking. In other words, thousands of people listening on a weekly basis and coming along with the augmenting and amending the questions. And so it just becomes powerful. But Abraham is not limited only to answering here and now.
Was it us wanting it now, or was it Abraham wanting to bring it now?
There is only law of attraction, and so it is your asking that is bringing forth the answers. But it is desire on the part of all of us. It's like as you stand in your physical shoes and you imagine a happy future, you literally give birth to the idea that calls you to it. And so, in like manner, we from our non-physical have given birth to the idea of you, which is now vibrationally calling us back forth. And in the way we would really like you to hear this, there can be no separation really between the physical you and the non-physical you. You are the physical you and Abraham is the non-physical you, and we are also integrated together. But it is your leading edge experience that is producing the leading edge question.
So you're learning with us as we're going along?
We are expanding with you and knowing as we go. And we would call it learning as well. That which you call God is never complete, expanding. And the only instance where that would not be true is in the case of true death, where there is nothing more, and there is not any of that.
I think, in listening to you, we've come to, or I have, to grips that, there is no death. But the hardest part, I think, for myself or others, is when you have the physical death and you lose that individual. You can appreciate, or I can appreciate, that person is fine and that person is living forever and the soul's everlasting. But the missing part is the relationship with that physical person. And my question would be, I guess, twofold, is how to help us perhaps deal with missing the physical relationship in physical life. And also the next question would be, are we able to continue to have a relationship with that individual when we become non-physical?
Yes. In fact, you don't have to wait until you become non-physical in order to have it. Let us answer the first part of your question first. Esther's daughter and her daughter, little Kate is 6 months old now, are at the office in San Antonio, and Esther is with Jerry on the road. And they are not dead, but they are not with her. So she can choose to miss them, which is very unpleasant, or she can choose to think about them, which is very pleasant. Now Tracy is a grown woman with her own child and family. Esther sometimes will say to Jerry, I miss Tracy when she was 2, because she is clearly not 2 or 5 or 10. And yet there were so many sweet, lovely, co-creational experiences that Esther loved then that now are not possible because Tracy has matured into a different personality. So Esther can choose to miss what she was or enjoy what she is. And we're wanting you to reach the place of knowing you can do that even when someone has reemerged into non-physical. You can miss what they were or remember what they were with pleasure, or acknowledge who they are and enjoy what they are with pleasure. But in every case, it's about you deciding how you want to feel. And this question really helps us to emphasize where we began here today, which is most humans don't want to set their own tone. They want to observe something that sets it. So we only ever hear you say you miss those that made you feel good when they were here. Those that made you feel bad when they were here, you say, I don't miss him. It's all about your individual focus, your own individual determination first of how you want to feel, and then looking for something that matches that. If your quest is joy, and you really, really mean it, then you start looking past, present, and future, dead or alive, physical or non-physical, for things that feel good when you find them. But if that's not your intent, and you're looking anywhere and everywhere, then you can stumble upon plenty, whether they're dead or alive, that does not feel good. Missing is about, here it is. You know what you're really missing? That feeling of missing, what it is missing out on the connection with who you really are because you chose a thought that disallows the fullness of who you are. That's what missing is. So next time you say, I miss someone, say, and because I miss that someone, I'm now missing my connection with who I am. Yes. Some glorious, visceral, emotional experiences happen to physical friends as they connect with their dearly departed. Esther has had some of the most intimate, loving feelings with dead friends that far surpassed anything she lived with them when they were sitting across the breakfast table together. You see, it's not about anything other than the vibration that you choose.
Time, I have found, is a little different between non-physical and physical. You talk about 17 seconds and 30 days. I have found it's a great difference between your expectation of 30 days and my expectation of 30 days.
Well, that's because we know what we're talking about and you don't. We're having fun. We're not misunderstanding your linear time. In other words, we're not misunderstanding how long something takes. It is that it is our expectation for you to find that pure vibration. And so what you're really saying is, it's harder, Abraham, than I want it to be to get into the vibration of allowing. Because how long something takes is only as long as it takes for you to stop doing that thing you do that's not letting it happen. And so it can click into place instantaneously. And you have those experiences all the time. If it's not an issue, it happens instantaneously. And time isn't a factor at all. The only time that you are even considering time or wanting to talk about time is if there's something that for a long time you've been wanting and for a long time not allowing. And now time feels like a bigger factor.
Well, that's very true. I've been working with this allowing thing for a lot of years with you. And it seems like... I try to allow and allow and allow and allow, realizing that is the most important work of my own. And, 17 seconds goes by, and 34 seconds goes by, and 30 days goes by, and 60 days goes by, and it's like, why am I not allowing this thing that I want in? And it's probably because I want it too much.
It is because you are holding yourself in step one, rather than allowing yourself to trust and let it go. In other words, you are working too hard at it and therefore activating the vibration where it is. What you are speaking here is so perfect. It is exactly the reason that we are beginning to speak so powerfully about this virtual reality. Because not only you, but many want with all of their might something different from what they have relative to some subjects. But what they have is so dominant in their vibration that they can't shake loose of it. And so they just keep moving through time without shifting vibration. Esther, here's people like you, people who really, really desire things, who can't for the life of them figure out how to let loose of the vibration that is not letting it happen. And that's when she says, we can choose, we can choose. I can damn well choose. And we say, yes, you can, but you got to practice choosing. And you can't start with your issues, because if you start with your issues, you drag it right into virtual reality. And now virtual reality just becomes another process of practicing how you already feel.
Why is it that we can't get a direct answer from you on how to do this allowing thing?
Because words don't teach. It is life experience that teaches. And even though we've been giving you a direct answer, you're not hearing it. It isn't that we're not answering you. It's sort of like our friend who was talking about the drugs. It's like they're getting the answers, they just can't translate them back into anything that they can relate to. And so we can give you a direct answer. Think thoughts that feel good, and everything that you want will be yours now. And you say, everything I want's not coming yet. And we say, then you're not thinking only thoughts that feel good. You must be observing some of where you are. So think only thoughts that feel good. And you say, it's not coming yet. And we say, that's because you keep noticing where you are instead of where you're wanting to be.
So virtual reality is the key.
It is. Let's do one. Take us somewhere. Pick a place that you feel pretty sure you'll feel good when you get there.
What time of year?
You get to choose everything. You're like the creator of this. So you choose the place, the time of year, the time of day, how the air feels, the temperature. Describe it to us.
Okay. I'll go to Jamaica, January. The air is about 85 degrees. It's perfect. You don't feel like wearing any clothes. And the water is perfect, too. It's about 90 degrees. You can just get in there and enjoy the waves, body surf. Everything is great, smells good, the people are good. You see people walking along the beach. I'm in the water. It's a wonderful feeling place to be there, to be free, to have that freedom of being there and not worrying about time, money, or anything else.
Now, you see, what happened was we must not have been direct enough in our answer. It's a tendency, and we understand it. And Esther did about 200 virtual realities before she got right there. She would go, she would find this perfect place, she would see it, smell it, feel it, and then she would bring someone in to share it with her, and then she would try to reform them in some way. Or notice that they were trying to reform her in some way. And then she would laugh and say, I can do this, and then she'd start again. And it took a little while before she started to feel the essence of it, the reason for it, the feeling of it. So that's why we began describing in more detail. Pick a place and sort of be there for a minute. Now, you chose Jamaica. Why did you choose Jamaica?
It's warm. It's on the beach. It's something. I'm a mountain person, so it's something place different.
It just felt like a match to a place that would feel good. And then you picked January because that's a good time of year to be there. It's not so hot.
Exactly.
And so those were very good choices. And then if you'll slow down just a little bit to try to milk it for emotional responses, what we've noticed, as Esther played the game for a while, she got into a vibration where things from her past just started avalanching in. And she remembered going to Hawaii, and she remembered the first time she went there. Now, the second and third and fourth and fifth, they've gone every January for 21 years. This is the first year that they have not gone. So every January for over 20 years, Jerry and Esther have gone to Hawaii. But when she did her virtual reality, it was only the first one that came back to her, because it was the most poignant. It was the one that meant the most. It was the one where the expectation was the greatest. And so she went back, she remembered seeing the water from the airplane, and then she remembered getting out and walking down the stairway onto the pavement. At that time, it did not take her right into a building. So she could feel the air and smell the air, and it was different air than she had ever felt or smelled. And as she was in her virtual reality, recalling this, waves of pleasure came all up through her, just like the anticipation that she was feeling in that moment all those years before. And then she did not go further, because it was only that part of all of that that really perfectly matched the virtual reality ambiance that she'd brought herself to. She did not drag her bags through the agricultural inspection, and she did not start shedding her clothing. In other words, she was dressed way too warm, and she did not ride in the rickety bus that the motor was so out of sync that the exhaust was almost making her sick by the time they'd made the drive around the island. And so what we were getting at, there were parts of that trip that were nowhere near a vibrational match to what she was trying to achieve in her virtual reality. And if she had stayed there longer, she would have started dragging enough reality in, she would have messed up virtual reality. And we want to again reiterate that the reason for this virtual reality process is to show yourself that you can choose a vibration. It's not to show yourself that you can choose a vibration and hold it forever and ever and never deviate from it and never go back to step one. It's not to show yourself that you can be totally irrational and never face reality in any way. It's only to show yourself that you have the wherewithal to focus and achieve a vibration. And when you show yourself that, now you are on the path of deliberate creation, because that means if you can do that for 20 or 30 seconds, that you can maintain it long enough that law of attraction will activate something else within you, and then you can be like Esther has been on several of these long drives. She's maintained that connection for as long as an hour. Jerry will be sleeping or working on something else. He's in the back of the coach. Esther's driving, and she will be virtual reality until she gets to the place that she hooks in to every positive experience that she's ever had or imagined. Yesterday, as they were driving, Jerry said, interesting enough, let's set a timer for 15 minutes. And as the timer goes off, we'll ask ourselves, where were our thoughts? And then we'll take a few seconds to just breathe deeply and appreciate. And so Esther was driving. They drove from Sedona here. And as the timer would go off, Esther was in such bliss every time, because it was impossible not to feel good. They were on the open road. It's her favorite drive of all that they do. Wide open roads, very little traffic, nice smooth roads, gorgeous skies, beautiful vistas, beautiful rocks and mountains, everything about it. It was so easy. It was impossible not to be in a good place under those conditions.